Hello, I'm Oliver Colling, and this is the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz. Hello, and a very warm welcome back to our quiz, which is a test of your 1970s TV trivia-related knowledge. Our quiz sits alongside the My 70s TV Childhood podcast, which is a joyous celebration of what it was like to grow up in the UK in the 1970s and the important part that TV played in our families' lives back then. Thanks to all of you who've been in touch about the quiz, and for those of you who've already supplied questions and answers for our forthcoming listener-sourced edition. If you haven't submitted any questions, then you can still do so by sending them to quiz@my70stvchildhood.com. We are recording before too much longer in the run-up to Christmas, so please get your questions in soon. Okay, now on to our quiz. We have 20 questions for you across 4 rounds of 5 questions each, and each correct answer gets you a point. And what do points make? I'm sure at least one of you listening shouted prizes. Well, normally points do make prizes, but our quiz is just for fun. And the prize is one of satisfaction from demonstrating you can remember things from the telly of 50 years ago. Well, that sounds a bit depressing, doesn't it? All right, let's get on with our quiz. Get your pen poised and your exercise book covered with wallpaper, ready and open as a blank page. And here we go with round 1. And our first round is called Animal Magic. And it's all about some of the animals we saw on our screens in the 1970s. Question 1. What was the name of the frog in Hector's house? Question 2. What was the name of the dog in Champion the Wonder Horse? Question 3. In Animal Magic, what was the name of the ring-tailed lemur who often sat on Johnny Morris's shoulder during the 1970s? And question 4. What was the name of John Noakes' canine companion on Blue Peter and Go with Noakes? And question 5. Who was Rhubarb's feline chum? Okay, I think a reasonably gentle start for you there. So on to round 2, which is our marathon or Fil Rouge round, where I ask you questions about previous episodes of the podcast. You haven't listened to the podcast? Oh dear, you probably should have done. But anyway, I think you'll be able to have a go, I suspect. Question 1. In our recent episode on Tony Hart, we remembered Vision On. What was the name of Tony's female co-star in the show? Question 2. In our October 2020 episode on public information films, we looked back at the Tufty Club and Tufty the Squirrel. Who was the naughty young animal who was always getting into road safety-related scrapes? Question 3. We featured Sooty in February 2022. Hello, Sooty. What was the name of Sooty's original human companion? And question 4. Our recent episode on the all but lost show Little Big Time raised a lot of interest with our listeners, one of whom thought he must have imagined that the show existed given how bizarre it was. Which pop star featured in the show? And question 5. In April 2021, we looked at game shows. In Mr. and Mrs., which item was the prize which successful couples took away with them? And here's a clue. It is a very 1970s object. Halfway through, so I hope it's going okay. Now, for those of you expecting our famous spin the wheel, name that tune mashup combo round next, I'm afraid the wheel has suffered a bit of damage during rehearsal, and our AI theme tune generator has been subject to a North Korean cyber attack. So we are introducing a new round, yes, a new round called The Mystery Voice. And how this works is, and you may have guessed this already, is I'm going to play you a snippet of someone speaking, and you have to tell me who it is. Okay, Mystery Voice number 1.
Fun, yeah. And Chris Hall, we go back to the time when I was in the England band, carrying a trombone that I couldn't play.
And Mystery Voice number 2.
The most frightening thing about your first time down is the starting straight. Although I was sticking the spikes on my boots into the ice as hard as I could, it didn't seem to have any effect. I was accelerating and there was nothing I could do about it. Anyone watching my first attempt would have known I was a newcomer because I was going so slowly. But from where I was lying, I felt as though I was travelling at least 60 miles an hour. All I could see was ice flashing past beneath me.
And on to Mystery Voice 3.
Now, it's how to make barley sugar. Good old-fashioned stuff, this. You need sugar, not unnaturally, and you need 6 ounces of that to 1/8 of a pint of water. And you put this into a pan and you let the sugar melt very slowly. Don't let it boil, and you can tell it's melted because if you feel about in the bottom of the pan with a wooden spoon, you shouldn't be able to feel any crunchy grains. That means it's gone by then.
Bit trickier, that one. Unlike this one.
Suddenly, as if by magic, the shopkeeper appeared.
And finally, Mystery Voice 5.
And none of that business of prodding it out of a pudding basin. And look at the colour of it. And look at the richness. Ooh. Now, may I repeat, in case I haven't made my point strongly enough, everything that I've spoken of, every single thing, is written down for you in the booklet. The times of the steaming, every single ingredient, how you make it in an ordinary pudding basin, and how you do it this way.
Did you guess all of those? Okay, so we're on to our final round already. And this is our general trivia round called TV Times. Question 1. BBC Two aired the series The Six Wives of Henry VIII in 1970. Who played the title role of Henry VIII? Question 2. In 1979, ITV showed the first episode of Wurzel Gummidge, starring John Pertwee. Who played Aunt Sally in the show? Question 3. What was teacher Mr. Baxter's nickname in Grange Hill? So what was Mr. Baxter's nickname? And question 4. Rita Fairclough ran a shop in Coronation Street and probably still does as far as I know. But what was her other profession that was featured quite a bit in the 1970s? And question 5. What year was the film Carry On Camping first shown on UK TV? And that's it, another quiz completed. So while you're checking your answers, and no Googling please, although other search engines are available, let's give you the answer to last week's bonus question. I asked you, which children's TV show was first shown on BBC One on the 4th of April 1972 and is still going now? The answer was, of course, Newsround, or John Craven's Newsround, as it was originally known. Well done if you got that right. Many of you did, and you did let me know in great numbers by dropping a line to quiz@my70stvchildhood.com. So on to this week's bonus. John Inman, best known as Mr. Humphreys in Are You Being Served, also starred in a sitcom as a character called Neville Sutcliffe. What was that show called? Okay, let's go on to our answers. Round 1, our animal magic round. Question 1, what was the name of the frog in Hector's house? Well, that was Kiki the frog. Question 2, what was the name of the dog in Champion of the Wonder Horse? And that was Rebel. Question 3, in Animal Magic, what was the name of the ring-tailed lemur who often sat on Johnny Morris's shoulder? And she was called Dotty. Question 4, what was the name of John Noakes' canine companion on Blue Peter and Go with Noakes? And that was Shep. And I'd be surprised if many of you didn't get that one. And similarly with question 5, who was Rhubarb's feline chum? That was Custard, of course. All right, on to our round 2, Marathon Fil Rouge. In our recent episode on Tony Hart, we remembered Vision On. What was the name of Tony's female co-star in the show? And that was Pat Kiesel. Question 2. In the Tufty Club, who was the naughty young animal who was always getting to road safety-related scrapes? Well, of course, it wasn't Tufty Fluffytail, who was very, very good. It was Willy Weasel. Question 3. We featured Sooty in February 22. What was the name of Sooty's original human companion? That was Harry Corbett. Not to be confused with Harry H. Corbett, who was somebody completely different. And question 4. Little Big Time featured which pop star? It's Freddie Garrity of Freddie and the Dreamers, and some of the Dreamers used to pop in out as well. And question 5. What was the prize for successful couples on Mr. and Mrs.? Well, there was a bit of money, but the object they took away was a carriage clock. All right, on to our mystery voice round. Okay, first voice was Bernie Clifton. Crackerjack. Crackerjack. Voice 2 was, once again, John Noakes. Voice number 3 was Bunty James, one of the presenters of How. Oh. And voice number 4 was Roy Briggs as Mr. Ben. And question number 5, that was the TV cook, Fanny Craddock. Okay, on to our final round, TV Times. Who played Henry VIII in The Six Wives of Henry VIII? And that was Keith Michelle, later to become known to people of our age by singing Captain Beaky. Question 2. Who played Aunt Sally in Wurzel Gummidge? And that was Eunice Stubbs. And question 3. What was teacher Mr. Baxter's nickname in Grange Hill? That was Bully Baxter. And question 4. What was Rita Fairclough's other profession during the 1970s? Well, rather unlikely. As well as running a shop, she was a nightclub singer. So newsagent by day, nightclub singer by night. And question 5. What year was the film Carry On Camping first shown on UK TV? And that was 1975. So, how did you do? Are you in ecstasy or are you writhing in agony? Whichever, I do hope you've enjoyed playing the quiz this week. But that's all we have time for the quiz. So take care. Don't forget to like, rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next week for the next edition of our regular podcasts and in 2 weeks' time for our next quiz. So have a good week. And join us again soon for more from My 70s TV Childhood and the My 70s TV Childhood Quiz.